Yeah, well, I think one of the more significant trends is how to revitalize a workforce. We've recently come out of a pretty long recession. In fact, some are calling it the Great Depression. And as organizations regain their health, I think it's critically important that the leadership of these organizations recognize that employees have been through a lot. So how can they re-energize, re-engage their employees in a way that will help them run the business? I think during boom times, it's easy to develop employees and have programs focused on staff development. During these recessionary times, I like to say it's the era of the chief financial officer. So how do you look out for the now and also protect for tomorrow? And I think that's going to be one of the most significant leadership challenges in the months ahead. Yeah, that's a great question. I believe the leaders of today have a responsibility to have an organization that is sustainable. So you must focus on the today in order to be here tomorrow. But I think, like any type of trend, too much of it can be bad. And I think too much of the focus on the now really will compromise the growth, the development, the investment, in particular on human capital type of investments for tomorrow. So I would caution chief financial officers, chief operations officers, chief executive officers to make sure that when they're meeting and planning their strategic planning, that they include the human resource folks, the human capital expertise, to make sure that the proper investments are also embedded in the strategic planning for tomorrow. Yeah, most Western nations will be seeing a significant retirement wave in the upcoming years. That post-World War II generation, commonly referred to as the baby boomers, are now at that age of 63, 64, beginning to think about retirement. The generation in its wake, some refer to as the baby bust generation, is just a much smaller generation. And I think organizations need to recognize this trend is coming up. It will revitalize this war for talent, both the retention and the recruitment of new staff. And I also think it gives us an opportunity to maybe rethink how we look at the workforce. I, for one, happen to think the old concept of retirement very much is dated. And I see the new retiree is someone who will not be sitting in a rocking chair, but someone who will continue to work, perhaps not in a full-time capacity. So when I work with clients, I try to work with them to put in place workforce policies that have the flexibility to retain this transitioning population, very large population, in order to keep the human capital knowledge inside the company as a way to deal with some of the demographic challenges that will be coming up in front of us. The other big significant demographic challenge, I believe, is how to deal with the transient population known as Gen Y. This is the internet generation. They change jobs more frequent. It is the now generation. What are you doing for me today? And although they have tremendous positive traits, they're also impatient. So how can organizations keep that workforce internal without having them change jobs as frequent? And one of the things that I advise employees to do is think about job rotations more than perhaps you've done in the past. So you're letting this Gen Y population quit, but stay within the walls of your company by changing their jobs. Yeah, the level of commitment, and that's somewhat synonymous, the term that I use, which is the level of engagement. You see it manifest its way in a number of different ways. Do you have employees proactively giving suggestions to leadership? Do they feel that the culture is safe to speak up? Is there an open, transparent level of communication? I like to use the metaphor of a healthy communication needs to to have the waterfall of communication coming down, the leadership cascading the company strategy. There needs to be the metaphor of the water fountain. What are you doing to solicit the input, the creativity, the ideas of your employees? And also the metaphor of the river and the stream. How do you bring your employees together to make sure that you are creating a culture of inclusion? So you're getting ideas from different generations, from different functional groups, from different cultures, from different diversity classifications. So I would say the combination of those things, open, frequent communication, will go a long way into fostering both commitment and engagement. Well, I'm a big fan of a level of high performance being embedded in that level of commitment. One of the things that I like to tell groups when I'm speaking is you shouldn't really focus on employee satisfaction. I think employee satisfaction can be a byproduct of a great culture, but I really think that it has to be a mutual commitment from the employee helping the company enjoy success and the company helping the employee enjoy success. So that level of commitment that both sides participate in. And I think employees can help organizations accelerate out of the recession if leadership is open in what the challenges are of the business, and they reach out into the organization to help solicit ideas and solutions to some of the business challenges. But again, I don't think it's an organization's responsibility to make employees happy. I think it's an organization's responsibility to create a culture in which the employees are engaged to excel, and that engagement to excel will help the company be successful. By virtue of the company be successful, it'll create the resources necessary to further invest and reinforce this culture with the employees.